everyone to artists you may not go to because you might overlook them because they're so different. This artist's name is Odilon Redon, and I will put his name in the chat box. Give me one moment to type it in. Odilon Redon, Redon. Odilon Redon.
You don't say the L on the first name?
No. In French, the L is rarely pronounced. He was French. He was born April 20th, 1840, and he is what we call a symbolist painter. And we're going to talk briefly about what symbolist means in a moment. He was a painter, printmaker, draftsman, and pastelist. We today are going to learn how to use pastels. Those of you who are here in person, you're incredibly lucky because I have brought with me today boxes of brand new pastels, as well as some oldies but goodies. So if you look at the new pastels and you don't see the colors you need, I have the boxes of old ones as well for you to delve into and use. I'm going to be doing a demonstration, but first we're going to look at a slide presentation of Monsieur Redon's work, talk briefly about his life and his vision and style, and then I'm going to give you an assignment. Any questions so far? No. So we're going to just jump right into the slide presentation. I'm going to share the screen so that everyone may see. Folks at home, if you have any difficulty seeing the slideshow, you can let me know by calling out. Here we go. Odilon Redon. Again, he was born April 20th, 1840. He was actually born in New Orleans, the United States. His father was a slave trader and married a Creole woman in New Orleans. So Odilon is of mixed race. A little known fact about him. However, he lived most of his life in France, not the United States of America. He is perhaps best known today for his very quote unquote dreamlike paintings, and they were created in the first decade of the 20th century. They are heavily inspired by Japanese art. He was also inspired by nature and flirted with abstraction. So the symbolist artists, and I'm going to talk more about this as promised, the symbolist artists were moving away from realism. They were trying to change from being in love with the classical art of early Europe, of the ancient Greek and Roman art that held such sway over European artists up until this point. And they were starting to move away from that very strict realism into a more spiritual and abstract form of art. And Japanese art was one of the things that influenced them in this aesthetic change. Okay, so correction. I got this wrong. forgive me. Redon was conceived in New Orleans, but was born in Bordeaux, Aquitaine. So he was actually born in France, but conceived in New Orleans. His mother was French Creole, and they left New Orleans when she was pregnant with his brother Gaston. His real name is, or was, Bertrand, but he acquired the nickname Odilon from his mother's first name, Odile. He started drawing very early on as a child at the age of 10, and he was awarded a drawing prize at school. He began his formal study of drawing at 15, but of course, his father intervened and said he had to go to architecture school. He failed to pass the entrance exams, our good luck, at the Paris École des Beaux-Arts, and ended any ideas of a career as an architect, and studied painting and sculpture from that point on. His younger brother, Gaston, became a very famous architect. Notice the very bright, intense colors in Rousseau's work. He was one of the first artists to use these kinds of very bright colors. He was a very active artist from that point on. He was doing etching, lithography, and sculpture, but his artistic career was interrupted in 1870 because he was drafted into the army for the Franco-Prussian War until its end in 1871. Again, moved away from realism, he was very much involved with very dreamy images. And that's what qualified him to be a symbolist painter. After the war, he worked primarily in charcoal and lithography, which is a form of printing that at that time you could only do in black and white. And he called these works his noir. And noir in French means black. It was not until 1878 that his work gained any recognition. And in 1879, he published his first album of lithographs. In 1884, he became much more famous when a novel was published about him called Art et Bord, Against Nature. It was about a decadent aristocrat who collected Redon's drawings. In the 1890s, he discovered pastels and oils, and they became his favorite media. He then became interested in Hindu and Buddhist religion and culture, and the figure of the Buddha increasingly showed in his work. The influence of Japonism blended into his art. In 1903, he was awarded the Legion of Honor, and his popularity increased when a catalog of etchings and lithographs was published in 1913. That same year, he was given the single largest representation at the groundbreaking U.S. International Exhibition of Modern Art, otherwise known as the Armory Show in New York City, Chicago, and Boston. At 40, he married Camille Fayette, a young Creole from Ile Bourbon. They had a son, Henri Redon, in 1889, who became an artist himself. So you can see in this painting the influence of Japanese art.
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe this is my personal opinion. Sorry.
But my question, you keep saying Japanese influence, but I don't see any.
You don't see any influence. Okay, forgive me.
Some of it is like there's a two-dimensionality to it. Like Japanese art is it doesn't have a lot of perspective generally, from that time period. And also like, don't you think like the dress is somewhat, I mean, I see somewhat,
Well,
don't
that's a
see
good-
it. I mean, well, to me, it's interesting because it's very flat in the front, but there is some perspective. But very flat, like at the top where the yellow is, you know, that comes right at you. It doesn't recede at all. It's in the front, but there is some perspective in this.
So folks at home, I want to make sure you're hearing this discussion because it's wonderful. And I'm going to ask a personal question. Are you of Japanese
Yeah.
heritage?
That's Japanese. Yeah.
Okay, so I
thought I like.
think
Ah,
your perspective, your opinion is wonderful. We're having a very deep discussion right now about whether or not this image shows the influence of Japanese art on Redon. And for m-
You don't see that? No?
the
I mean, I'm sorry, I defer to you.
yeah, like no face, like a very flat. Maybe if you say that, maybe so. But actually, in Japanese painting,
Right.
the face doesn't show up like that. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay, so these are wonderful opinions being expressed. I want to state, first of all, that later I'm going to invite you to come up and look at the image on the computer screen itself. Because remember, when you enlarge a picture, a digital picture, it loses a lot of its detail. That's the number one thing I want to remind everyone of. Number two, this is Redon's interpretation of Japanese art. So he has changed what he was looking at drastically. Number three, I am interpreting it through my eyes. So what led me to say that this is influenced by Japanese art are a few things. Good morning. I agree with Heather and the French artists, particularly the Impressionists, loved Japanese art because it does not have the deep perspective that artists were almost slaves to at that period of time in the art practice in Europe. They were forced to follow the very strict rules of perspective that were taught in art schools at that time. And the gorgeous Japanese art that people were collecting, the pieces that they were collecting, didn't have any of that. And the European artists fell in love with it and attempted to copy it. Was it accurate? Was it an exact copy of Japanese art? No, because they weren't Japanese artists. So they were interpreting what they saw. The other thing that led me to say this painting is influenced by Japanese art, and this could be me being an American and of European ancestry, stereotyping, and that is because of my cultural background. I am white and not Japanese, and of European background, not Asian. This person's clothing, to me, looks Asian. And therefore, I am guessing, I don't know, Monsieur Redon, he's not alive for me to speak with. I feel, and possibly I'm wrong, that he was looking at a picture of an Asian person in Asian dress. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. This is the beauty of art. It's filled with mystery, and we can interpret and often misinterpret what is intended. And we see it through our own cultural eyes. And we frequently make mistakes. And we're so lucky that you're here. Yes, we're so lucky that you're here to help us. So thank you for your comments. And Heather, thank you for your comments. And folks at home, you know, you're always welcome to chime in whenever you want. Okay. So, whoops, sorry, forgot to turn this off. Let's move on. I'm chewing on my cough drop. Sorry, guys. So his legacy, what he's remembered for, is his choice of color and subject matter in the latter part of his career and life. He is considered to be one of the fathers or precursors to Dadaism and Surrealism, which we've talked about in the past, and the fact that he used pastel, light, bright colors, and that he worked from his imagination, which was very unusual at that time in Europe. This picture is not realistic. It's completely removed from reality. And that's what artists look to him for, the lack of realism in his work. And again, completely unrealistic, very dreamlike, ethereal quality, very soft pastel, bright colors. He loved butterflies. He returned to the subject of butterflies over and over again. I personally love this one. This really shows his use of pastels. Pastels are a very soft media. This image to me is very, very soft and kind of glowing, which is an effect you can really only achieve with pastels. And when I do the demonstration later, I think you're going to see that glowing quality firsthand. Again, very symbolic. This person is not real in his interpretation. It almost has a spooky quality to it. I'm not sure who this person is, what this person is doing. Very emotive and emotional. That's also kind of an innovation for this period of time in art. Artists were not looking to convey feeling in their work. Redon was one of the first artists who actually did that. Personal emotion, his own and others, was something very important for him to show in his work. During his early years as an artist, Redon's works were described, quote, as a synthesis of nightmares and dreams. And we're going to see some of his dark, fantastical figures from his own imagination. What we've looked at so far are some of his lighter, brighter, more colorful works. His work represents an exploration of his internal feelings and psyche he himself wanted to place this is an interesting quote. This is a quote from him. The logic of the visible at the service of the invisible. So he wanted to move away from reality. That was deliberate on his part. Again, this one's very peaceful and serene, I think, not nightmarish in quality at all. It does have that wonderful glow to it. This is also a work done in pastel. Here's another quote from Redon. I have often, as an exercise and as sustenance, painted before an object down to the smallest accidents of its visual appearance, but the day left me sad and with an unsatiated thirst. The next day, I let the other source run, that of imagination, through the recollection of the forms, and I was then reassured and appeased. So one day he would try and work realistically, but that left him completely unsatisfied. And so the next day he would work completely from his imagination and he would feel great. I like that.
This photo reminds me of Chagall.
Yeah.
It is similar to Chagall, especially with the colors.
Yeah.
Marc Chagall was a surrealist painter. And remember, Redon was one of the precursors of surrealism. He was before his time, Redon. Many of the symbolists were. Puvis de Chavannes also. Sometimes Cézanne is considered to be a symbolist. But yes. All right. So just a warning and a heads up. I think some of the slides to follow are some of Redon's darker images. I want you to be prepared. Some of them are a little troubling. Oh, not yet. So in this one, you can really see his attempts at realism, but also how he's moving completely away from realism. I believe this one is an oil, however, not a pastel. And even with the oils, he's searching for that glowing light in his work. He earned much of his living through commissions. He would do portraits of wealthy people and they would pay him. I believe this is one of those. I think the color in this is spectacular. And with very few lines, he's really showing the feeling in this woman's face. I think that's quite remarkable. You could see how the Impressionists also followed after the Symbolists. They were the next iteration of art in Europe. The love for the quality of light in Redon and other symbolist work led the Impressionists to start painting out of doors, which was a whole new thing at that time too. And one thing led to the other. Okay, so here's one of Redon's darker images and some of what made him famous. Some of the images that made him quite famous were these, what he called his noirs. And he did these after serving in the military, remember. He was in the Franco-Prussian War, and he probably went through a lot of bad times when he was in the army. But here's what an art historian, Michael Gibson, says, that Redon began to want his works, even the ones darker in color and subject matter, to portray, quote unquote, the triumph of light over darkness. And Redon himself described his work as ambiguous and undefinable. Quote, my drawings inspire and are not to be defined. They place us, as does music, in the ambiguous realm of the undetermined. I don't like this kind of work. I'm going to be honest and truthful about it. But many people during Redon's life bought these images. He would make prints out of these and sell them in book form. So this is the kind of stuff in his early career that made him famous.
Would make a good t-shirt.
Aha!
Yeah.
Stephanie's saying it would make a good t-shirt. Be sure psychedelic, right?
Something like that. It's weird.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's just weird.
It's just weird, it's true.
Is that like a face looking down on water with boats?
It is definitely a face just hanging in the sky. I can't tell where it's looking, but there is a sailboat in the ocean beneath.
Right.
Wherever it's looking, it's not clear to me.
Very strange.
It's also
Surrealistic.
It is surrealist. It's symbolist, though, and it's a precursor to symbolism. And here is a little bit about symbolism. Symbolism can be seen as being at the forefront of modernism in that it developed new and often abstract means to express psychological truth and the idea that behind the physical world lay a spiritual reality. Symbolists could take the ineffable, such as dreams and visions, and give it form. And symbolism started as poetry. It was really a literary movement in the beginning, and the visual artists were inspired by the symbolist poets. And what unites the symbolist artist is the emphasis on emotions, feelings, ideas, and subjectivity rather than realism. They combine religious mysticism, the perverse, which is what I think this image is about, the erotic, and the decadent. This one I can deal with more than the prior one.
Is that an etching?
This one could be an etching or a lithograph. Symbolist subject matter is typically characterized by an interest in the occult, the morbid, the dream world, melancholy, evil, and death. Aren't you glad I saved these till the end of the slideshow? Maybe it was bipolar. Is that what you said, Eileen?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Both moods, right?
I don't know. I don't know. This one I find almost pleasing, though. This one doesn't bother me. I love the difference between the bright whites and the deep darks. It looks like a bust, a marble bust, but the person's face is very distorted. It almost looks like a pig, not like a human.
Also, like, he did all those cyclops.
He was fascinated with the human eye. The human eye appears frequently in his pictures, and he's famous. The Cyclops in Greek mythology and Roman mythology, and he's famous for an image called the Cyclops, which I think I might have included. Here it is. So I think this piece is called The Cyclops by Odilon Redon. That's a skull. So he's turned the eyeball into a balloon that is carrying a skull at the bottom. Yeah.
I like this one.
Okay, Stephanie, why? Can you put into words why you like this image?
It's so different. And I just like the use of the black, gray, and white.
Yes. The tonality of this work, the
Right.
beautiful, beautiful different shades of gray is quite wonderful.
Yep.
You can see, can you think of an artist who looked at this and immediately started painting? Does the name Magritte ring a bell?
I don't know. I thought of Dali.
And Salvador Dali. So the surrealists owe a lot to Redon. Without Redon, I think the surrealists would never have existed. Yep. When I look at the sky in this painting, I think of Magritte immediately. Magritte, he owes a lot to Redon. All right, and we've spoken about both those artists in past classes.
I would like it a lot better if it didn't have the figure on the bottom. Like,
Because it is morbid and macabre, right? That's your objection?
no, I just don't think it belongs. I think if it was just the sky with the
Well,
strings, it would be fine.
okay.
My opinion.
And you think the eyeball belongs?
Yeah, I love it. I love
Okay,
it.
good.
I can see that too, because the springs sort of anchor it, and if it didn't have that, it would be floating. You know, it'd be like-
Okay. So I invite you all to bring it up on your screen, small or large, and put your hand over the skull and see how it looks.
Much better.
Okay.
I like this.
All right. So we are ending with the other thing Redon was particularly famous for. It's so interesting how artists can live in two different worlds. And that are his still lifes of flowers. He did these breathtakingly gorgeous pastels and oils of bouquets, exuberantly, beautifully saturated, deeply hued paintings of flowers in these exquisite vases. And they made him a lot of money. And they just show a side of the man that was, I think, filled with joy. So he could have this dark side, but also this wondrously joyful side. And I love that about him. Absolutely love that about him. And that leads us to our assignment today. I am going to demonstrate for you the ways that pastels can work in your own creation today. I'm so delighted that we have these brand new pastels. I purchased them for us a long time ago, but the time never seemed right to break them out, to use them. And I'm going to demonstrate the variety of ways that you can use them. And then I would like you to copy one of Redon's bouquets. If you do not, Heather seems dissatisfied with this assignment.
I sort of already said something.
You may go in another direction if you are not in a happy, colorful mood. If you would prefer going in the darker, more spiritual direction of Redon's work, feel free. If you want to do portraiture, pastels are brilliant for portraiture. Feel free. You know me. I love it when you do your own thing. I am going to insist that you use some soft, blendable material. I have brought to class today pastels, graphite, Conti crayons, which are very similar to pastels, and pencil. And I think that's it. Those of you at home, if you do not have any of those items, obviously, you got to be creative. But I would like you to use a media that you can blend. So we're going to give our wonderful favorite librarian, Laura, a minute or two to set up the camera so that I can do our demonstration. I am going to put an image of one of Redon's floral arrangements on the screen. I recommend that if you're ready to begin, start with a light sketch in pencil first. Enlarge your flowers, unless you have a colorful vase. Enlarge your flowers to fill the whole page so that you can play around with color. Any questions? I do not have pastel paper with us today. I didn't have any time to purchase that for us. If you're lucky enough to have pastel paper, use it. Pastel paper usually has a nice tooth or texture to it. So if you have some at home to use, have at it. And doing pastels on sandpaper is another fun way to go. So if you have, I would use fine grain sandpaper. All right, I am going to stop the share. If I can find my mouse, which seems to be a problem these days. Okay, I'm going to try escape. Nope. Here we go. Okay, good. Exit full screen. And we're going to wait for Laura to set up the camera. I think we can get rid of this. Yes, good. No, I didn't mean to do that. Now, the image that I'm going to share with you will disappear when I'm doing the demonstration, but for now, you should be able to see that very briefly. Oh, wait, I forgot to open it up. Sorry, everyone.
All right, so we're going to do the demonstration first, right? Yep.
Yes, as soon as you're ready.
That's cracking.
What?
Who's this guy?
Who is the person with me on the screen? That's my husband, Ibu. You've seen him. You've seen him with me. What? That was at our wedding, yes.
Wonderful.
You've seen him with me. He is wonderful. Or the wedding was wonderful.
Whoa. Whoa, he's wonderful and the wedding was wonderful. You went to the wedding? Yes. Wonderful.
Well, it was open to the public. We got married on the waterfront. Everybody came. It was great fun. You would have loved it.
See, look, see the river? Yeah.
We were at the floating park.
So, we doing a demonstration on the camera?
Yes, we are, but I didn't realize you were going to do it so fast. So I put this. So you want me to now do what?
You'd like to do a demonstration?
I would like to. So what do I do with my laptop? I have to stop the share now. Okay, sorry guys. So I said the picture will go away, but it will come back. Okay, good. So now I'm going to do the demo. Everybody give me a second to get a couple of pieces of pastel and Conti crayon. Oh, my mask. So I'm feeling much.
Of course you are, because you're
Good
good.
news.
It was art.
Doing art. Art is the great healer. Those cough drops I had were killer. They have echinacea and ginger.
Do you need more water? Or you good?
No, I'm good. So folks at home, I'm masking up again. I hope you can hear me, but I'm going close to the people here. I don't want to infect anyone. Excuse me. So sorry. Yes, these are both us. Please don't take anything yet. I can do the demonstration. Thank you so much.
But maybe no problem. Maybe no.
Don't mind.
So this class was about 10 years. I mean, you start together. Were you in class in the beginning? No, I was, you were before, way before. How many years have you been? But. Yeah, we were upstairs. I was going upstairs for them.
All right.
How many years ago?
Can you see me on the big screen?
Yes, yes, I am.
You see my hands? Yes. All right, folks who are here in class today, Susan, can you see me?
Yeah.
So the new pastels come in these trays. At cleanup time, please make sure you return the color to the box where you found it. I know sometimes we're in a hurry when we leave, and we just kind of throw the thing back in the box. But I would appreciate it if you return it to the slot where you got it. And they will break. Pastels break, they're soft and they break. I don't care, just make sure you return it to the right color box. All right, and the same with the Conti crayons, they break, and that's okay. You don't have to feel bad if they break. They're soft, they break, they're supposed to break. Just return them to the box where you found it. The difference between Conti crayon and soft pastel, great question from Eileen. These are a little bit harder, and you can get a sharper edge with Conti crayon than from the soft pastel. That's about it. All right. The beauty of pastels is that you can do large shapes and fill large areas when you use the side of the pastel. You can also blend. They're just a magnificent media when you need to blend. You can also mix with pastels. So you can change colors by blending them together. You can create form just the way you shade with pencil. Isn't that gorgeous?
Wow.
And the same rules apply with pastels and Conti crayon as with paint when you want to mix colors. So if you want a color in the brown or neutral range, you can take a primary color like red and mix it with its complementary secondary opposite green. And it will neutralize and make it more of an earth tone. Now, this is Conti crayon. It will not blend as smoothly. You see how the red is still not blending completely with the green? It will not blend as smoothly as the pastels. So that is a difference. Pastels blend seamlessly. See how I have a sharp edge? I can make that completely disappear with pastel. Not so with Conti crayon. If I press hard with the Conti crayon, I can blend it, but that edge is always going to be there.
What are they?
They're wonderful. If you need tiny detail,
Yeah, you use that to
Conti
highlight.
crayon is great. Say
highlight.
you're doing the leaves for the flowers. They'll be there.
Yeah.
If you need to outline with Conti crayon, or if you need to outline, then Conti crayon is the way to go. You can still blend, but the outline will be visible. And you can work Conti crayon, you can work it on top of the pastel.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love that color,
Think of it as a highlight.
right?
Wow. Yes, demonstration.
Now, even if the pastels get dirty, if you use a lighter color on top of a darker, I don't care. Just make sure you put it back in the box that you got it. Right? Okay. That's basically it. Nice. Nice. They're wonderful. I recommend that you take a blank piece, 2 blank pieces. 1 blank piece you use to experiment. The second blank piece you start your finished work of art. Because we have time for experimentation. And then at cleanup time, put it back where you're bring it up to these. Off with it. Thank you for watching. Folks at home, any questions? Good to go?
Yeah, I'm just looking at.
Somebody named Susan,
I was on, that was me watching when I was coming here.
oh, okay. Smart move, just confused me.
Yeah.
Okay, then you gotta put a picture up.
Yep, as soon as I put supplies back.
No problem.
Yeah, so there's a million different colors here, and the brand new ones are over there. Just remember where you got your colors from, and please return them where you got them. It's not a good show.
Not good. I have been nothing. Finally, we are so I can stop like your sheet. You know how it is.
There's more pastels over here. They are broken and well, they're still good to use. It's too crowded at the back counter, so. See, and somebody put Conti crayon in the pastel box. Just make sure you put things back where you got them from. Okay, folks at home, I'm putting a picture up now. Laura, can I announce the extra afternoon class?
Not yet till we get dates, I'm gonna do that yet.
Oh, okay.
Remember in January, so we have to solidify the actual.
Oh, I thought we were doing one in January.
No.
Okay. I stand corrected.
Gotta do February,
Okay.
and then pick a date, so if you can mention that in February, we'll be doing that once.
I thought we had arrived on January 17th, but I guess I'm wrong.
Changes on the 25th, and the makeup class, and another date. There's a makeup
Never
class.
mind then.
The one that we missed, remember? We missed class, yeah, so we have to do a makeup, so I will aim in February, where we're adding that extra, and every month thereafter will be once a month.
Oh, shoot.
You had said-
What is the makeup date? Because I,
You know, I'll pick that date.
oh, good, because I had to schedule Ibu for,
To class, but we just have the date yet, which probably should come by next week. Between now and next week, we can have a date. So once a month we are in. That. You recommended mid-month, so. We'll solidify.
it makes sense to me to do it in the middle of the month.
Yeah.
So. Here's the chat. I am putting in the chat, there's 2 shows that I'm gonna be in. One opens next Thursday and one in February. So I'm gonna put it in the chat for everyone. They are both at the same gallery. I'll be sending an email about this too.
Liz, I just sent you an email.
Okay. If you do not like the picture on the screen, I invite you to look on your phones. If you are able to get images on your phone. You might want to start with a light pencil sketch first. I'm not going to force you to do that, but You have a full hour almost. On this. And I encourage you to think about the background as well as the vase and flowers. Notice the very subtle color that Renan filled his background with. This is not a solid white background.
Oh, I know.
You don't want your fingers to get messy, you can use paper towel. You love it, yeah.
Loved it. Somebody
Oh, it's one of the great dots.
Yes.
My first husband. I mean,
I know.
oh, okay.
She doesn't.
You don't like it? Do something. I would love to see. That's it. Let me use pesto.
Oh, you never,
Yeah, I can hear it.
no. Never thought, no,
You
no.
don't even need pencils, right? What pencils, I mean, I don't mean that. She's not using pencils. You don't have to. That's what I mean.
No.
No, I recommend you start with a pencil sketch. I recommend, and you don't have to.
Oh, really?
Very light pencil sketch, just to figure out where things are gonna go on the page, so you don't have to. A bunch of carrots, it's a perfectly fitted. Yeah. And if you want it to look really round salad, you need to blend all the way into the middle. Okay, keep blending. Or, would you get close? You make the shadow underneath even darker. More dark underneath, on the bottom. Now again, this image is very pixelated, so it may be hard to see. You prefer looking on your phone. That's easier for you. Able to find the exact image. Someone put another picture up. Stephanie, is this one of your paintings? Must be. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Is it an oil? What did,
Yes,
wonderful.
I did that back in the 70s when I studied with a recognized American artist
Do you,
back in Queens,
do you remember the person's name?
Robert Burrell.
Uh-huh. Lucky you.
Oh, that was amazing. Yep. But it wasn't for long because I moved to Hawaii.
Wow.
Yep.
You've had quite the life.
Thank you. when I saw that painting that you put up before, it reminded me of that.
Oh, the definition.
Wonderful.
But I sent it to you in an email so you could see it more clearly.
Maybe I can look on my phone. Yeah, it hasn't arrived on my phone yet. Sorry. I'll look at it later. Thank you so much. Oh, wait, suddenly a lot of emails have arrived.
Hi, Liz.
Yes,
I may have missed this.
okay.
To start out, do you do what do you start with first? The vase, the background?
Oh, I didn't say. The only direction I gave was to start out with a light pencil sketch.
Mhm,
I would start with the vase.
mm. That's good.
If you start with the vase, it's easier to situate where the flowers go.
Mm,
And the other direction I gave was to make the flowers very big.
mm. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. And think about the background, Lizzie.
Mm.
Notice that the background has color.
Mhm,
It appears white, but it's far from white. There is a lot of color in his background. And there's something black in the bottom left-hand corner. I have no idea what it is. It's so
Mm.
pixelated, I can't figure out what the heck that
Mm.
is. So maybe you can find a better image on your screen.
Mhm.
I'm guessing it's like a dead flower or something,
Or I could ignore it.
or you could ignore it.
So you would do the background before the flowers because
No,
no?
I would not with pastels. I would do the flowers first
Mm,
and work the background around the flowers. And that is because pastels blend so beautifully and your edges are less important than if you were working with paint.
mm,
If I was working with paint, I would do the background first and
mm,
then the flowers, because with paint, your edges become an issue.
mhm,
But with pastels, they're less important because you can't really maintain a sharp edge with pastels or Conte crayons.
mm.
It becomes less important because of the nature of the media. These are great questions, Lizzie. Thank you.
Liz,
Yes.
could you
Thank you.
say something about making the flowers big in the vase, not so much in the picture? Did you say that?
I said make the flowers as large as possible in your image, because then you can have more fun with the color. Yes, make them outsized. I did. The vase is less important in this exercise, although this vase has beautiful color in it.
Oops.
But you have more opportunity to play with color if you make your flowers big. And my object today is to have you play with color. Remember, they don't have to be realistic because he was not into realism. They are kind of roundish, kind of, sort of.
I don't have to.
I know. Me either.
But when you get too close, it's too close. Oh,
When you get close, they get even blurry.
I know.
That's the problem with digital imaging stuff. Something that I forgot to talk about is you can start with dark pastels and then work light on top. That's a wonderful thing about pastels. With paint, it's the reverse. You have to start light and then add your darks. But with pastels, you can actually go either way. You can start with dark colors and then add light highlights afterwards. It works beautifully. In particular, with this pink rose right here, you could do it very dark and then add the white, lighter petals afterwards, and it would work beautifully. If anyone wants me to show you how to do that, just let me know. Okay. Let me get a piece of paper. Line. Great. Okay, so you can start with dark. I'm just going to show you how you can start with a dark color. Now I'm keeping it loose for the rose. It's very abstract. And you can use cloth or paper towel, yeah. And then to get right on top of it, get the lighter petals. Pretty. You can take the harder punches. Very dark outline for the edge.
Like a new, right? No.
With the blue, you can do that also, yes, so. That's the dark. Outside of the bud,
Mhm.
and then it gets lighter in the middle.
Oh.
Then it can be super dark on the edge. You take the harder punching board.
Oh.
Okay. Right.
Make a new, finally have a big flower. Flowers, you are free. I used to do them when I was a kid. I've done a lot of them. And like. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a quick trip to the ladies. I'm drinking a lot of water
It's good,
for my cold.
very good.
I shall return. And just a heads up, the lights weren't working in this lady's room earlier this morning.
Yeah, it is. It can work. I was just.
I just wanna let everybody know.
They're working. This is in
Oh, now they're working, yeah.
the- Dolly. Who's Dolly? I'm up. They say, go, Dolly. You know that McDonald Madison ice cream?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Sure.
It died out like she did.
That's a bad joke. Other than Dolly Parton. Who's Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton, the singer.
Oh, Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
She's still around. She's still buzzing.
She just did a song with.
Yeah, she did a Christmas song. right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The other singer was Linda Ronstadt and
Yes.
Emmylou Harris.
Yes.
Ooh,
I have that
wow.
CD.
Oh,
Oh,
so
good.
good together.
I have that CD. They're fantastic.
Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like me too.
Yeah, her voice was iconic.
Oh, boy.
She can't sing.
No,
No,
Whatever.
it's really a shame.
I saw her in person in New York.
I do too. Radio City, I think. I saw her several times. I can remember.
She was singing Spanish.
Yeah,
It was
like
cool. My
Canciones
father's-
de
my
mi
father's-
padre.
Yeah, yeah.
Canciones de mi padre. Beautiful, the Mexican stuff.
Yeah. If I can do it, it's half time, I quit a CD. Yeah. I mean, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful. I go, blind. Very easy and that's it.
Good, it's very good. Well, that's one of my favorite Ray Dahl pieces, Susan. Keep going.
I love the pink in the background.
Yep. Folks at home, are you doing okay? Oh, something in the chat. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Stephanie.
Oh, my pterygium?
Yes,
Yeah. Do you know what that is?
no,
Um, it's a growth on the white part of your eye
yikes.
that if it grows more, it'll grow over my eyeball, which
Oh.
you don't want to happen. Yeah. So I'm going to schedule a surgery for it.
Oh,
The doctor says it's easier than a cataract, and I had both cataracts, so,
okay, good.
but it's still scary.
Of course.
Anything with
Look
the eyes is scary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep us,
look it up.
keep us informed, please.
I
Yeah,
will.
will do.
I don't know when he'll schedule it, probably a couple of weeks, but
What causes
I-
that?
it's really funny because they say that it's very rare for a white person to get it. It's mostly black people. And I think it was one time when I went to an eye doctor and he left the light on my eye too long.
Huh,
Yeah, it's very weird.
who that person?
That was a long time ago. So I'll send you a picture of what it looks like.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Probably looks like a Gaydon painting.
I hope not.
Eyeballs.
Maybe I will.
Yeah, keep us informed, Stephanie. So sorry to hear that.
The eyes are. The eyes are the deal.
I know. It's a good thing because we don't have to be realistic.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Like,
If whatever comes out.
expression is work.
Mm.
You have to judge you with the way they
I know.
would judge a young person. Now, one thing you can do with the background, you're gonna get a lot of smudges on your work. You can take a light colored pastel when you're completely done and just use it to smear your smudges with. Seriously, the background is gonna be the fun part.
Called the big smear.
The big smear.
Smear.
They're a beautiful start there, Eileen.
Never my wildest dream to do this. Heather does it. Heather.
What?
Watch.
Groundbreaking.
Surprising. How about that? That can go either way.
All of your, everyone's color choice is just fabulous. Wonderful. Also notice the darker shadow underneath the box. Notice the darker shadow underneath.
You have this gorgeous color here. And then there's the kind of greenish, pinkish thing you've got going on underneath too. I find that. That too. Beautiful, beautiful art today. Oh, it's the color. I think we should share at the end. But it's always up to you guys. Yes, we both it's the white highlight that I showed you. You use that technique very well.
Is anyone feeling cold?
No.
No, so.
Well, part of that being cold, but it's not bad.
No, I was schwitzing before.
You're all. One more minute of discussion and you gotta go back to work.
Tell her not to be so interested.
Yeah. Can't blame it on Laura.
I know.
Everyone working okay at home? Courtney, you're good. Lizzie, Margot,
Yes,
okay.
My
Margot,
hands are too messy.
your hands are too messy. Part of it. Part of the joy of pastels.
Okay, one suggestion, I think maybe small light. Yeah. It's not gonna do anything. I'm trying to fit, you know, all of these, I noticed them outside. You see it like on this one. Look at the screen. Like on this one.
Yeah. So you can also use light, high. Yeah, it's always, everybody's style is coming through. Sally, where'd you get that from? Did you get that from my bag? I don't want you to use those. Honey, these are not for pastel. This is for graphite. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Use the tissue here. It works very well. To a lot of trouble hiding it. Love these salads. Yeah, man, this is my thing. Source stuff. Lock everything down. Yes. Little white. It's not exactly, it's never, I sure did, you know, I got it. Yes, and well, I wanted to do my own thing. Yeah. That's very difficult, the challenges. But pastel is, when you want to work with reflection, pastel is a great medium to use. Because you can make it thin and transparent by blending, by just spreading it as thin as you can.
Oops. In 5 minutes, I'm going to ask if you want to share. anybody's interested in the Hoboken Public Art Master Plan, the Hoboken City Council is voting on it tonight.
Yes? Oh,
I helped write it.
What do you think?
It's okay.
Think art will be an answer somewhere?
Well, we're trying to get public art all over the city. I just hope there's committed to allowing public input, as they say they are.
Did you see, last night? I'm.
Yes, Edward Hopper. Did anybody see on,
Oh my gosh, yes,
Part of it.
yes. Oh, he's so sad.
he was not a very nice man.
Well.
I was upset at how he treated his wife.
Yeah.
That's watching it.
His wife, who was an artist, who knew?
Right,
He was like morose almost.
control. freak.
Yes, I think he was possibly bipolar.
Mhm. Horrible.
Well, he had that woman in France, remember her? She gave him the shaft after 5 years or something. I think he took it out on his wife.
We mistreated him, but I think he was really stupid. We should have seen it on the TV.
Let me tell you later. Trying to get what I want down, so I think you don't go. Yeah, what would you use white for? To make it pink?
There's landing.
It's light blue and white. Okay. That's what I mean. They use the light blue first. Your background's coming on really well. Really clean. But get a little darker with this red. Green.
Here, look at the screen. Here. See the red and green here. It's really gonna make the vase pop. All right. Do we want to share? Or do we want to keep working?
Share.
Share. Lizzie, you'd like to show your work? Or was that Margot? Sorry.
That was Margot.
Margot. It means I have to take the picture of the screen though, so I have to take a vote. Folks here, do you want to share or do you want to keep working? Raise your hand if you want to share.
I will unfinished.
Okay, I think sharing wins, so I'm gonna stop the picture. Sorry, guys. The picture's going bye-bye. And Margot is gonna share first. Wait up, Margot. Wow, Margot, look at this.
Wow.
Who is this person?
Just a picture. Just a pretty face.
Picture. Margot, your shading work is getting better and better and better.
That's what I'm working on, so yay.
Yes.
Okay.
No, Margot said it's just a picture that she's copying. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. If you can make it to the Tuesday class next week, bring some of these images with you. Okay?
Okay. Yeah,
I-
sure, we'll do.
Give you more in-person advice.
You got it.
Courtney, you want to share?
I'm not particularly pleased with this, but it's what.
Oh, it's very much like his symbolist work. Look at this.
Well, I'm trying to copy one of his that I found online that I liked. So
It's one of his darker pictures, I feel. All
Yeah.
right. Send me a JPEG when you're done. I'm liking how it looks now. I need to see more. Courtney, you're another one who likes to really challenge yourself. Lizzie, are you ready to share?
Well, oops. I don't think pastels are my forte.
Is this the first time you've used them?
Yeah, I
Then
feel like it's finger paint.
it is like finger painting. Nothing wrong with that.
But no control.
This is a beautiful beginning.
Oy.
Here's a suggestion.
Yeah, I
Now
got lost. I have no idea.
you can start using the white
Mm.
or your lighter colors to start creating highlights. And you can also start using the darker colors to add detail and shadow.
Mm.
You're just beginning to make the image appear, and the white and the darker shades are going to be what make this image evolve. It's a beautiful beginning.
So do you need those crayon things in order to make detail?
No,
No?
but you can use the edge of the pastel also to do detail. Yeah.
Mm.
You
Well,
you can find Conti crayon online. I'm going to put in the chat box how to spell it. It's CONTE crayon.
so do pastels come as pencils?
No.
No.
Oh, wait. Let me think about that for a minute. They might. They might.
Mm.
Do a little research on that. I would go to the art supply company, Dick
Mm.
Blick.
I've seen that.
If you're going to find that anywhere, it'll be on Dick Blick.
So with pastels, like this is, I don't know what it is, 9 by 12 or something. Are you better off with big paper when you do this kind of thing?
It depends on your style. You can do pastel small or large. It depends on what you feel comfortable with. Okay. But pastel paper comes in all different sizes.
Oh yeah, this is just I don't know. I didn't have pastel paper. I think it's drawing paper.
I wouldn't recommend getting it right away. It's expensive. Pastel paper is very expensive.
Oh yeah, for sure then. But would I have been better with watercolor paper versus drawing paper?
Yes and no. Watercolor paper is a little bit too textured. Pastels.
So it
You
doesn't
can
grab
try
it.
using fine grained sandpaper.
Oh Lord.
You can just go to the hardware store and get very fine grained sandpaper. You might like that.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
never would have tried this.
You're so brave. That's what I like about you, Lizzie.
Oh,
You're going to try new things.
New
Okay.
Year's resolution.
Something going on with the hair here. Who's next? We're going to go in-house now for sharing. Heather's coming up to share.
Right.
So hard with your sketchbook is so heavy. Wow, look at this, everybody.
Nice. Who did that?
Bravo, Heather.
Love
Heather, I have one suggestion. I would get a little darker around in the background, around some of your flowers and
Okay.
underneath the vase. Just
Okay.
slightly darker. Beautiful color. Gorgeous. Anybody else want to share? Come on up. This is Mudran, right? Mudran is coming to share. Wow, look at this beautiful color.
Nice.
Also, Mudran, I would suggest getting a little darker underneath the vase. Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Will you explain about?
Mhm.
Oh, fixative. So pastels will rub off your paper. I'm going to put in the chat box in a minute. Look at this wonderful.
That's good.
A lot of expressive quality in Susan's work.
Oh, yeah.
And no skulls.
And no skulls. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't go in that direction today. You could have with no.
Nice, Susan.
Hello. How are you? Happy New Year.
So in order to keep your pastel work permanent, you need something called fixative. The cheapest fixative you can use is water. You can take, no. You can take a large wet paintbrush, and you can gently brush water over the top of the pastels. It will fix the pastels in place. But be careful. You don't want to use a lot of water. You could ruin your drawing. The next best thing is something called golden acrylic varnish. I'm going to put it in the chat. It is expensive. It is toxic.
Put outside.
Do it outside. But it's very wonderful. Golden acrylic varnish. It is made by the paint company Golden Paints. Heather said to use hairspray. I'm going to put it in the chat box. You can, but hairspray also is very toxic. And I don't think it works
Flammable.
all that well. And it's very flammable. All right, Antica. Look at her beautiful. Look.
Nice.
Same assignment for everyone, and everyone's is so different. This is the beauty of art. We all express ourselves in our own unique, fabulous way. Love it.
Thank you.
Fabulous. And Eileen, yay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Now wash your hands really
Yeah,
quick
I-
because I have a cold.
Oh, nice.
Wow, Eileen, this is the best ever.
First time I ever used it.
Look at her, and I love how her shapes fill the entire page. This really celebrates Eileen's exuberant personality. It's terrific. I think you should get this one framed. Right Angle Frame Shop in Hoboken. You can just mention my name and they will give you a discount.
Wait, where is it?
Right Angle Frame Shop. There are two of them on Washington Street, one uptown and one downtown. And seriously, they'll give you a discount if you mention my name.
Tell them, leave.
Liz Cohen. Liz Cohen or Liz and Dawn. Oh, yay. Look at this. And this is your first time to use pastel. Gorgeous.
Nice. Acrylics, right? I mean, pastels.
This is soft pastel only.
Okay.
Gorgeous.
Incredible.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Ah, and one more.
Woohoo!
I love
Whose
the
is that?
purple. Your use of purple is just wonderful. Where's your mom? Did she go back already?
No, she's resting at home.
She's resting on it. New Year's Eve was too much for her.
Yeah.
I'll tell her I said hello.
Yeah, I will.
All right, so we are cleaning up here. I hope all of you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you all next week. Oh, wait, Sally, one more. Look at this.
Wow.
Just an
Good
explosion.
job,
of
Sally.
color. Fabulous, Sally. Bravo.
Today I study shadows. So.
Oh, and Sally was also doing a study in shading. Fantastic. Look how round that looks.
Mm.
Well done. Bravo. So I will see you all next week. Art On, many art shows in New York to see if you get a minute to check them out. I heard the Henry Taylor show at the Whitney Museum of American Art, or it's actually called the American Museum of Art, at the Whitney. And of course, the Manet Degas show at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. There's a lot of great art to see right now. Enjoy your weekend. Happy New Year, everyone. And again, see you next week.
Happy New
Bye-bye.
Year.
Good to see you all.